She stood in the shadows of the city market. Small, dirty, silent. No one looked at her. No one cared. She had only her clothes. Torn thin clothes that couldn't protect her from the cold air of the human colony planet called Helios 9. Her skin, a soft silver blue, marked her as alien. Her black eyes were tired, full of hunger. Her name was Lyra. She hadn't eaten in 2 days. Humans walked past her laughing, talking, buying food, drinks, machines. She watched them carefully. They looked so powerful, clean, safe. She wanted to be like them, or at least not be afraid of them. Lyra slowly walked to a food stall. The smell of hot bread made her stomach twist. She looked at the vendor, an older human man, with a long beard. "I trade," she whispered, her voice weak. He looked at her, frowned. "You got money?" "No," she said. "I have clothes." She pulled at the scarf around her neck, offering it. The man laughed, loud and mean. "What am I gonna do with rags from a rat?" People around them laughed too. "Go beg somewhere else." "Alien," he shouted, and threw a small rotten fruit at her. It hit her arm and fell. Lyra didn't cry. Not anymore. She picked up the fruit from the ground. Bruised, dirty, but still food. She walked away from the light, into the dark alley. She sat down, bit the fruit slowly. It tasted like dust, but it was something that she ate. She heard footsteps, heavy boots, slow, coming closer. She looked up. A tall human stood there. Dark coat, gloves, and a half-broken visor over one eye. His face was hard to read. He didn't speak. He just looked at her. Lyra froze. Was he going to chase her, hurt her, take her to the guards? But he didn't move. After a moment, he just turned and walked away. Strange, she thought. Humans don't look at aliens twice. Not unless they want something. The next night, she tried again. This time, she went near the waste units, where rich humans dropped leftovers. She found half a protein bar in a wrapper. Her hands shook as she opened it, but a gang of street kids saw her. "Human kids. Alien rat," one of them shouted. Before she could run, they pushed her down, laughing. They kicked dirt on her. One took the protein bar and bit it himself. "Go back to your planet." The tallest kid shouted. She wanted to shout back. "I can't. My planet is gone." But she didn't speak. She waited until they left. When she stood up, her knees hurt. Her arm was bleeding. But she didn't cry. Instead, she walked slowly to a metal grate behind a storage unit. She lay there, cold and shaking. "Maybe I'll sleep and never wake up," she thought. In the middle of the night, a strange sound woke her. Clink, clink. She opened her eyes. A metal cup sat in front of her. Inside its warm broth. Steam rose. The smell was strong, full of spices. She looked around, but saw no one. She picked up the cup slowly, drank. It was the best thing she had tasted in weeks. For the first time in days, her body felt warm. The next night she waited near the same spot, and, again, the cup came. Silent, left by someone in the shadows. Every night, it returned. She never saw the person, but one night she tried to follow the sound of the boots. She moved slowly, staying in the shadows. The person turned a corner. She peeked. It was him, the same tall human with a visor. He opened a door in a hidden building and went inside. She stepped closer, before she could move. A red light flashed above the door. A voice shouted, "Stop. Identify." Lyra ran. The voice was from a security system, military grade, not for normal people. "Who is he?" she wondered. The next morning she felt dizzy, her vision blurred. Her legs were weak. She hadn't slept. Her body was too tired. She tried to walk, but fell. Everything went dark. The last thing she saw was a pair of boots standing near her head. She heard a deep voice say, "She's worse than I thought." Then everything faded. "Don't move." The voice was low, calm, but full of danger. Lyra opened her eyes slowly. She was lying on a cold metal floor. Her hands were tied behind her back. A soft blue light filled the room. Across from her stood the man from the shadows. The tall human. The one with the broken visor and silent boots. He held no weapon. But he didn't need one. His eyes were sharper than any blade. "Where am I?" Lyra whispered. He didn't answer at first. He just looked at her. He passed out in the alley. He finally said, "You've lost weight. Your ribs are showing. You're lucky I found you before the patrols did." Lyra tried to sit up. Her wrists burned against the cuffs. "Why did you bring me here?" The man leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "You're not just some starving alien girl," he said. "I know what you are." Lyra's heart skipped. He couldn't know. No human could. I'm just trying to survive, she said quietly. You think I'm a fool? He asked. You have markings under your skin, hidden tech, and your eyes glow just a little when you're scared. Lyra turned her head. Silent, he took a slow step forward. What's your name? She stayed quiet. I gave you food, he said, kept you safe. The least you can give me is a name. Lyra, he repeated. I'm Ray. Captain Ray Malik. Retired, sort of. Are you military? Was. Not anymore. Ray walked to a table in the corner, picked up a small bottle, poured water into a metal cup, walked over and held it out to her lips. She hesitated. He didn't force her. Finally, she drank. The water was cold. Pure. Why did you help me? She asked. Ray shrugged. Maybe I'm tired of seeing good things thrown away. Lyra looked around. The room was small, but clean. One bed, one desk, no windows. It looked like an old ship room, repurposed. Are you going to sell me? She asked suddenly. Ray blinked. What? Humans buy and sell things. Slaves, weapons. I'm not stupid. Ray sighed. If I wanted to sell you, you'd already be in a cage, not sitting here talking. He walked back to the wall. Sat down. You're hiding from someone, he said. Tell me the truth, Lyra, or the wrong people will find you first. Lyra's throat tightened. She looked at the floor. I ran from a lab, she whispered. They were testing on survivors like me. What kind of lab? Military. Human. Ray's jaw tightened. I thought your kind was gone, he said. After the war. They didn't kill all of us, she said. Just most. Ray was silent for a long time. Then he stood and walked to a cabinet, took out a small tool and came back. Without speaking, he bent down and unlocked her cuffs. You're free, he said. But not safe. Lyra rubbed her wrists. The skin was red. Why are you helping me? She asked again. Ray gave a tired smile. Because I've seen what happens when no one helps. I've done things I can't fix. Maybe this is one thing I can. Suddenly, a loud beep came from the wall screen. Ray turned, pressed a button. A voice spoke. This is Patrol Unit 3. We've spotted movement in Sector 7. Possible alien signal detected. Search teams deploying. Lyra froze. Ray turned back to her. They're looking for you. She stood up. I should go. You won't get far. I have to try. You're not alone anymore, he said. But if you walk out now, I can't protect you. She stared at him. Tried to read his face. No games. No tricks. Just truth. Something strange filled her chest, a feeling she hadn't had in a long time. Hope. But before she could speak, there was a noise. Bang. Something slammed against the door. Ray's eyes narrowed. He pulled out a hidden blaster from behind the desk. Stay behind me, he said. Who is it? She whispered. Ray didn't answer, but he already knew. They had found her. The fire was green. It spread across the sky like a storm. Buildings melted. Ships exploded in silence. The air itself burned. Lyra was 5 years old when her planet died. She remembered her mother screaming, pulling her into a hidden pod. The metal door closed. Darkness. Cold. Silence. She remembered one last thing. Don't trust the humans. Lyra opened her eyes. Now, years later, she was back in a dark place. Not a pod this time, but a small safe house. The lights flickered. The air smelled of smoke and metal. Outside the door, someone had tried to break in just minutes ago. Ray had scared them off, but they would be back. Stronger. Smarter. Ray sat near the door, cleaning a burn mark on his arm. His blaster rested. Nearby, Lyra stood near the wall, staring at her own hands. I saw your hands glow, Ray said without looking at her. When the lights cut out, that wasn't human. Lyra stayed quiet. Was it a defense system? Biomod tech. Still, she said nothing. Ray turned toward her. Lyra, I just fought 3 armed mercenaries to keep you alive. I think I deserve the truth now. Lyra looked at him. Her eyes, black as glass, were tired. I don't know what I am anymore, she said. He didn't answer, so she told him. My people were scientists, not soldiers, she said. We studied planets, life, energy. When humans came, we offered peace. But war came anyway, Ray said. Not as a question, but a fact. Lyra nodded. They took our tech. Our leaders. They said we were too dangerous. They burned our cities. My parents were killed in the first wave. Ray looked away. I don't remember much after that, she continued. Just cold ships. Experiments. Wires in my head. Tests. Every day. Pain when I didn't answer fast enough. Ray's voice was low. You escaped. Yes. They thought I died during transfer. But I broke out. I ran, hid, tried to survive. Ray stood slowly. He picked up a datapad from his desk. I need to show you something, he said. He pressed a button. A hologram appeared in the air. A file. Military log. Subject. Project Edenfall status. Terminated species. Unknown alien tag. Lyra 7. Notes. High-level cognitive functions. Possible psionic signature. Disposed. Lyra stared at it. Her name was there. A file written like she was an object. They listed you as dead, Ray said. That's why you survived. She stepped back, her hands shaking. They lied, she whispered. They said I was safe. That they were healing me. They wanted to turn you into a weapon. Silence filled the room for a long time. Then Lyra looked at Ray, her eyes no longer just tired but burning. Why do you care? She asked. You're human. You fought in the war. How many of my people did you kill? Ray didn't flinch. Too many. He said, I followed orders. I thought I was doing the right thing. And now, he said, I'm trying to do something better. Lyra looked away. I don't trust you. You don't have to. Just stay alive long enough to figure out if you should. That night, Lyra couldn't sleep. She sat by the small window, watching the sky. Somewhere out there, her planet's remains floated in silence. Her mother, her people, her past gone. But something else stirred inside her now. She could feel heat in her hands, movement in her mind. Something buried deep was waking up, and she was scared of it. But more than that, she was scared of who might come looking for it. At sunrise, Ray packed a small bag. We can't stay here, he said. They'll find us again. Where will we go? There's a contact of mine. Underground tech dealer. She might know how to wipe your signal from the system. Lyra nodded. But her eyes stayed on the horizon. Ray, she said softly, do you think I could be more than a weapon? Ray looked at her. I think you already are. A bullet burned past her. Lyra didn't turn to look. She just ran down the steel corridor, bare feet slapping against the cold floor. Ray was behind her, bleeding, limping but still moving. Alarms screamed. Lights flickered red. Footsteps thundered behind them. They had found her. 12 minutes earlier. Ray had just finished sealing a small bag supplies, fake IDs, energy packs. We'll be safe underground, he said. Just don't talk to anyone. And keep your hood up. Lyra stood near the mirror, trying to hide the strange glow that now sometimes pulsed behind her eyes. Her hands trembled slightly. She didn't know if it was fear or power. She turned to Ray. What if we can't run forever? Ray looked at her. Then we make them run. That's when the window exploded. Now. Ray fired over his shoulder. One of the mercenaries dropped, screaming. Down here, he shouted. Lyra followed, sliding down a ramp into the maintenance tunnels. The lights here were dim. Pipes hissed. The air smelled of rust and chemicals. They ran. Flashback, 2 hours earlier, the contact. Ray trusted an old tech dealer named Fixie, had agreed to meet them in an abandoned warehouse. I can scrub her data from the net, Fixie said, but it'll cost. I'm not paying in credits, Ray said. I'm paying in favors. Fixie grinned. You always did like trouble. She placed a scanner near Lyra. It beeped. The screen glitched. Fixie's smile faded. You didn't tell me she was tagged with Edenfall code. Ray's eyes narrowed. What does that mean? It means she's not just a runaway alien girl, Fixie said. She's a classified project. She's property. That's when Fixies come. Buzzed. She looked down. Ray saw it in her face. You sold us out, he said. Fixie didn't deny it. I gave you a head start, she said. That's more than anyone else would. Now, more footsteps echoed behind them in the tunnel. Ray was slowing down. Lyra grabbed his arm, pulling him. We can't stop, she said. I'm slowing you down, he replied, panting. She shook her head. We go together. Suddenly, the ground shook. A blast lit up the tunnel behind them. One of the hunters had a plasma cannon. Ray pushed Lyra down behind a broken pipe. We're not going to outrun them, he said. Then what? Ray handed her something. A small metal cube. This is an energy burst trigger, he said. It'll fry electronics within a 10-meter range. She looked at him. What about your gear? He smiled weakly. I'd been meaning to retire anyway. She nodded. They waited until the footsteps came. Closer. 3 mercenaries. Full armor. Visors glowing. Ray tossed the cube. It clinked. Beep. Beep. Flash. A wave of blue light swept the tunnel. Lights shattered. The soldiers screamed as their suits sparked and died. Lyra stood quickly. In the darkness, her hands lit up faintly. Not from fear, but from power. She reached out, focused. And for the first time, the glow moved outside her skin. It floated soft lines of light between her fingers. She waved a hand toward the soldiers. They stopped moving. Frozen. Even Ray stared. You did that. Lyra looked at her hand. I think I'm remembering who I was supposed to be. They made it out of the tunnel, through a hidden exit, behind an old water plant. Outside, the world was quiet again. Morning sun, breaking through the dust clouds. Ray sat on the ground, holding his side. The wound was worse now. You need a doctor, Lyra said. He laughed. You think doctors treat people like me? I'll fix it, she said. She didn't know how, but something told her she could. Something in her blood, her memory, her light. Ray looked up at her. You've changed, he said. No, she said quietly. I think I'm finally becoming what they were afraid of. Far away, in an orbiting ship, a new alert appeared on a dark screen. Project Edenfall reactivated. Target movement confirmed. Earth protocol initiate. Her mother was burning. Lyra screamed, pounding on the glass of the escape pod outside. Green fire tore through the sky. Black ships covered the clouds. Her city, her world vanished into Ashdot, and in the middle of it all stood a man in human armor. His visor glowed red. He pointed at her, and the pod filled with smoke. Lyra woke up screaming, but no one heard. She was alone, in a small room. The air was still. No smoke, no fire, just cold. Her wrists were sore. She had been tied, but the cuffs were now gone. She looked around. Metal walls, a tiny light above, a locked door, and in the corner, a tray of food. Warm, fresh, real. Lyra crawled toward it, sniffed, carefully took a bite. It wasn't poisoned. She ate fast, too fast, then stopped herself ashamed. That's when the door opened. A tall human walked in. Calm dark coat, glove on one hand, a broken visor over one eye. His steps made no sound. She backed into the corner, ready to run, ready to fight. But he just stood there. I'm Ray, he said. She said nothing. I found you unconscious, he continued. You were starving. Cold. I brought you here. That's it. Lyra's voice was hoarse. Why? Ray walked to the table and sat. Because I don't like seeing someone thrown away. She frowned. I'm not someone to you. I'm something. Right. Ray met her eyes. That depends. Are you a danger? She looked away. I'm tired of running, she said. Tired of hiding. But I can't stop. Then don't, he said. Just rest for now. Rest, she repeated. While humans hunt me. While people like you kill my kind and call it peace. Ray stayed silent. Then said, I never said I was a good man. But I'm not your enemy today. Lyra stood slowly. If you were smart, you'd turn me in. He gave a sad smile. Maybe I'm not that smart. Later she explored the small room. Nothing sharp. No way out. Just a vent in the ceiling. And one camera in the corner, turned off. She could have escaped. Maybe. But something stopped her. Not the walls. Not the door. The memory of how gently Ray had covered her with a blanket while she slept. How the food had no tracking chip. How, for the first time in weeks, she wasn't afraid to close her eyes. That night, they sat across from each other. No weapons. Just silence. Then, finally, she asked, why'd you wear a broken visor? Ray didn't look up. It helps me remember. Remember what? Who I used to be. Lyra studied him. He wasn't a soldier anymore. His eyes weren't cruel, but they were tired, heavy, like he had seen too much. She whispered, I used to have a family. Ray nodded. So did I. They didn't say more, but the silence was different now, less like fear, more like understanding. Suddenly beep, beep. A warning flashed on the wall screen. Ray ran over. Signal detected. Movement, outside. Unknown vessel landed nearby. Lyra jumped to her feet. They found me. Ray's face changed. Calm, too sharp. He turned to her. Do you trust me? She hesitated. No, she said. But I'll follow you. That was enough. He grabbed a small pack, opened a hidden floor hatch. Go, he said. Tunnel leads to the old drainage system. I'll cover the exit. Meet me at the lift point in Sector 9. She stopped halfway down. Ray, she said. You don't even know what I am. He looked at her. Yes, I do, he said. You're someone they're afraid of. And that means you matter. Then, he closed the hatch. Moments later, the door above exploded. She was drowning. but there was no water. Lyra gasped for air. Her chest rose and fell fast, but her lungs were full of light, not oxygen. She floated in darkness, surrounded by wires. Voices echoed around her. Cold, metallic voices. Subject L7 is responding. Increased neural stimulation. No. Fear response. Fascinating. Then a face. A human smiling. She doesn't know who she is yet, but we'll teach her. Lyra screamed. She woke with a jolt. Sweat on her forehead. Her fingers sparking faint light in the dark. Ray was sitting nearby. Silent. Watching. You dream loud, he said. Lyra wiped her face. It wasn't a dream. Ray nodded once. Flashback. She nodded back, still breathing hard. They put machines in my mind, she said. Not to control me. To erase me. Little by little. Ray didn't say anything. Just handed her a canteen of water. I think they failed, she added, drinking. But not completely. Ray leaned forward. Tell me. Lyra stared at the floor. Her voice was soft, but steady. My people didn't fight. We studied, healed, built peaceful cities. When the war came, we had no weapons. So we lost. I've read the reports, Ray said. They said your kind had dangerous potential. Lyra looked up, eyes dark. Potential isn't a crime. Ray looked down. No, it's not. Lyra continued, slower now. I remember being taken to a research ship. Cold lights, walls that pulsed. They used me to test psionic drugs, memory splices, pain loops. Why you? Because I survived the first round. Silence hung in the room for a moment. Then Lyra asked, you were in the war, right? Ray didn't answer right away. He just stood up and turned his back to her. He lifted his shirt. Scars, dozens of them. Some looked surgical, others burned, torn, twisted. They sent us to clean up alien escape zones, he said. But it wasn't cleanup, it was hunting. Lyra stared, shocked. Ray turned back. One day I found a bunker full of unarmed civilians. I didn't pull the trigger, but the next guy did. Lyra's hands lit up against soft pulses of fear. Ray raised his hands, showing peace. That's why I quit. No one ever quits your kind, she said. I did, he said, simply. Walked into a storm zone and never looked back. Lyra sat on the cold floor, hugging her knees. They took everything from me, she said. My people, my name, my memories. But not all of them, Ray replied. Some part of you is still in there? How do you know? Ray pulled a small metal box from his coat, placed it between them. Because I found this. He opened it. Inside, a memory crystal. Old tech pre-war. Alien design. Lyra gasped. I recovered it, near the lab they listed as your origin site, he explained. It was buried under rubble. They missed it. Lyra reached out with shaking fingers. The moment she touched it, a soft pulse of light rose into the air. A projection formed. A woman, blue-skinned, gentle eyes, long silver hair. She smiled. My daughter. If you're seeing this, you survived. Lyra froze. They can erase your mind. They can twist your body. But they cannot take your heart. You are Lyra of Ethery. You are hope. The light faded. Lyra's mouth trembled. She didn't cry, but her voice cracked. That was my mother. Ray said nothing. He just let the moment happen. Then Lyra stood, and something had changed in her. Not afraid, not broken. Awake, she looked at Ray. You said I was hiding, but I think it's time I start remembering instead. Ray nodded. Then we need to leave. Fast. Why? Ray showed her a device. The screen showed a red signal. Someone activated a long-range scan near this building. Not police. Not local military. Then who? Private hunters. And not the cheap kind. Lyra's face hardened. Then we run. But this time, I fight too. In orbit, a message blinked on a black screen. Aboard a silent ship. Subject Lyra located. Activate Edenfall directive. Authorization. Earth command. Incoming transmission logged source. Mercenary vessel Red Fang target ID. LIRA-7. Status. Active. Location locked. Captain Juno leaned forward in his chair. His one remaining eye glowed red through the tactical lens. Zoom in, he growled. The screen sharpened. There she was. Blue skin, dark cloak, glowing just slightly. Talking to a human man in a back alley of the old sector. That's her, Juno said. Confirmed Edenfall asset. His second in command, a synth-modded brute named Keel, cracked his knuckles. Want her alive? No, Juno replied. We want her scared? Keel grinned. Somewhere below. On the surface, Lyra sat on a cracked step, sipping recycled water from a metal bottle. Ray was nearby, adjusting a signal jammer. "Any word from your contact?" she asked. Ray shook his head. "Nothing, but the street's too quiet today. Something feels wrong." Lyra's fingers twitched. She could feel it too, like the air was holding its breath. Suddenly, a flicker, a vibration in the ground. Lyra stood. Ray looked up. Run now. High above the building, a black ship, uncloaked. No engine sound, no warning, just a pulse. Then fire. The rooftop exploded. Ray grabbed Lyra and threw them both into a narrow passage. Just as the sky came crashing down. Smoke, heat, screams. The hunters had arrived. They ran. Ray fired behind him with one hand, the other gripping Lyra's arm. "Underground maintenance hatch. This way." Lyra's feet moved on instinct, but her mind was racing. "They found me again. They keep finding me. Why?" She looked down at her arm. The light under her skin was pulsing harder, hotter, reacting. "Ray," she shouted, "I think something's happening to me." He turned a corner, blaster up. Not now. Behind them, Keel and two armored hunters dropped into the alley from above. Keel licked his teeth. "Let's make this fun." They activated charge rifles. Moved in. Down below, Lyra and Ray reached a sealed door. Ray punched the code. Come on. Come on." A blast hit the wall behind them. Concrete shattered. Ray slammed the panel. The door slid open. They dove through. Inside the old metro tunnels. Dust, darkness. Tracks long abandoned. Ray fell to one knee. "I'm hit." Lyra dropped beside him. "Let me see." He waved her off. "Keep moving." "No," she said. "I'm not losing you." She closed her hands around his wound. And then her palms lit up. Soft light. Controlled. Steady. Ray winced, then gasped. The bleeding stopped. He looked at her. "You healed me." "I didn't know I could," she said, shocked. Ray stood, breathing hard. "That's why they want you. You're not just powerful. You're impossible." Lyra looked down the tunnel. "Then maybe it's time they started running from me." Back above, Keel paused at the open tunnel door. He stared into the dark. "Initiate." "The swarm," he said. Tiny drones flew from his armor, fast, silent, deadly. Underground, the air shimmered. Lyra and Ray heard buzzing. She spun. "Something's coming." Drones raced through the dark like metal wasps. Ray fired too slow. Lyra raised her hands, and without thinking, she pushed. A wave of light burst out of her. The drones stopped in midair. Frozen. Then fell. Dead. The tunnel went silent again. Lyra looked at her hands. Ray whispered, "You didn't just stop them. You shut them down. You're learning." She shook her head. "No, I'm remembering." Meanwhile, aboard the Red Fang, Captain Juno watched the live feed go black. He smiled. "She's stronger than expected," he said. "Should we retreat?" asked Keel through comms. "No," Juno replied. "Send the full squad. And tell command." He turned, eyes burning. Edenfall is awake. Her wrists were bound in front of her. A collar pressed against her neck. Metal. Locking her power. She could feel it like silence inside her bones. Lyra sat on the cold floor of a cell. Two guards stood outside, human armed, laughing. "She doesn't look like much. Doesn't have to. They say she killed 5 drones with her mind." Lyra didn't speak, didn't move. She was back in a cage. But this time, she had chosen it. 3 hours earlier, they were hiding in the sewers beneath Sector 9. Ray was bleeding again. Worse, this time. Lyra had tried to heal him, but something was wrong. Her hands sparked, but nothing happened. "I'm too tired," she said, shaking. Ray leaned back, pale, breathing shallow. "Then it's over." "No," she said. "We'll find another way." But the sound of boots above said otherwise. Ray looked at her. "Lyra, I want you to listen. We don't both walk out of this. I'm not leaving you." "You don't have to," he said quietly. "You just have to choose." She stared at him, confused. Ray pulled something from his coat. A small chip, marked with the seal of Earth Command. "What is that?" "A direct channel to their hunters," Ray said. "I kept it hidden. For leverage." He handed it to her. "You want to end this?" he said. "Then give yourself up. On your terms. Make a deal." Lyra's hands trembled. "You're asking me to surrender. I'm asking you to survive." Now, in the cell, the door opened. A woman entered. Officer's uniform, gloves, cold eyes, Commander Vale of Earth Intelligence. She looked Lyra up and down, like she was examining a weapon in a museum. "You look smaller than I imagined," she said. Lyra met her gaze. "You look colder." Vale smirked. You're lucky, she said. Your friend bought you time. He called in a deal no one else could. Lyra's stomach twisted. Where is he? Vale ignored the question. You surrender. In return, he walks full clearance. No tracking. A clean slate. Lyra stood slowly. Her collar blinked red. And what do I get? She asked. Vale raised an eyebrow. You get to be useful again. Lyra's voice went flat. I'd rather be dead. You'd say that now, Vale replied. But let's see what a few years in deep storage do to your spirit. 30 minutes later, 2 guards walked her down a sterile hall. Flashing lights, steel walls, hidden cameras, and then voices ahead. She heard Ray. She pushed forward. They stopped her. She saw him handcuffed, beaten, but alive. When their eyes met, something unspoken passed between them. Ray tried to speak, but the guards moved him. Let him go. Lyra shouted. Vale held up a hand. Let's test the deal. The guards unlocked Ray's cuffs, gave him a keycard, directions, a path to freedom. Ray stared at Lyra. Don't do this, he whispered. She gave a soft smile. Too late. He stepped toward her. A guard raised a rifle. Lyra shook her head. Go, please. I'll come back for you, he said. I know, she said. 2 hours later, alone in her new cell. Lyra stared at the wall. She felt numb. Her powers were sealed. Her future uncertain, but she had made a choice. She saved someone. Not with power. Not with force. With hope. That was something they couldn't erase. Not again. Somewhere deep in space, a signal pinged. Origin. Earth Command Facility. 7 Subject. LIRA 7. Status. Contained code. Trigger level. Ordained in a hidden ship. Cloaked far above orbit. ... A figure leaned forward. She's alive. He smiled. Then the real war hasn't even started yet. She didn't scream this time. The needles went in thin, silver, sharp. Cold gel spread through her veins. Her skin burned. Her spine shook. But Lyra didn't scream. She stared straight at the ceiling of Lab 12. The humans in white coats whispered to each other behind the glass. She could hear them through the speakers. Her readings are climbing again. We've tried suppression. Nothing's working. Increase the dose. Another injection. Her fingers twitched. Her vision blurred still. Silence. Because she wasn't afraid anymore. She was listening to something old. Something sleeping inside her. And it was whispering back now. You are not their prisoner. You are their reckoning. 2 levels above, Commander Vale stormed into the surveillance room. Why isn't she breaking? She barked. The lab techs turned, sweating. She's resisting everything, Commander 1 said. Drugs, psionic blockers, even sensory loops. Vale narrowed her eyes. She gave herself up willingly, she muttered. This isn't surrender. It's strategy. A warning light blinked. Core energy spike. Containment unstable. Vale froze, sealed the chamber. Now back in the lab, Lyra felt her heartbeat slow, then stop, just for a second. In that silence, she heard her mother's voice. Not a memory. Real Lyra, listen to me. You were made for more. They feared you before you could even speak. You were light. You were voice. Wake up. Her heart started again. But not normal. Power surged. The collar around her neck cracked. The straps on the table snapped. The lights above burst one by one. She sat up. No rage. No scream. Just purpose. Guards rushed in. Guns drawn. Get down. She raised her hand. They froze mid-step. Eyes wide. Bodies stiff. Not dead. Not alive. Paused. She stepped off the table. Glass shattered around her, as energy rippled off her body in waves. The mirror wall cracked. The tech panels sparked. And still she was calm. Ray saw the explosion from 14 kilometers. Away he had been hiding, healing, waiting for a way back in. Now, the sky was red above the Earth command base. No way, he whispered. He pulled out a hidden tried the code again. Lyra, if you can hear me, I'm coming. But deep down, he knew. She wasn't waiting to be rescued anymore. She was coming out. Back inside, alarms blared, soldiers scattered. Lyra walked through the hallway barefoot, glowing from inside. Every screen she passed died. Every camera cracked. Every lock melted open, until she reached a massive blast door. Behind it, the Edenfall core, the very machine they used to test on her people, to copy their minds, erase their memories. She stared at it. It hummed, recognizing her. She placed her hand on the panel, and for the first time the machine bowed. Not physically, but energetically. It folded around her will. Far away, orbiting Earth. Secret satellites flared online. Automatic voice. Edenfall AI core has been compromised. Prepare planetary defense. Inside the base, Lyra's voice echoed. You broke us, you buried us, and now you fear what you made. Good. With a breath, she released it all. A wave of light. Blinding. Silent. Total. When it passed, the base was dark. But she stood alone. Untouched. Awake Earth. Day. Oh. Post-Edenfall. A child sat cross-legged in front of a glowing HOLO screen. His eyes were wide. He held his mother's hand tight. Is it true? He whispered. Is she real? His mother didn't answer. Her fingers trembled on the screen. The Earth broadcast network echoed through billions of homes. This is not a drill. The Edenfall core has been neutralized. A being of unknown class is approaching Earth's diplomatic zone alone. She has demanded an audience. Her name is Lyra. 1 hour earlier, Lyra stood at the edge of Earth's orbit. Alone, her stolen ship broken, her body tired, but her mind sharp, clear, unafraid. She sent a signal. I am not your property. I am not your weapon. I am what you feared, and I am done hiding. Earth answered with silence. Then warships. A full fleet rose into the stars. Back on Earth, in the High Council chamber, generals shouted. She's dangerous. She destroyed a classified facility. She's a living threat. But one man stood in the corner. Ray. His face was bruised, his coat dusty, but his eyes were steady. She's coming here, he said. Not to fight, to speak. The council leader turned. How do you know? Ray didn't blink. Because I'm the one she's coming to stand beside. Back in orbit, they let her land. They had no choice. Her body glowed like a storm wrapped in skin. But her hands were open. And she walked slowly. No armor. No weapons. No army. Just truth. The Earth diplomatic zone. A massive white hall of steel and glass. Lyra stepped in, silent. Dozens of guards lined the walls. But no one dared move. She walked to the center. Ray was already there when their eyes met. The entire galaxy seemed to pause. He nodded. She spoke. I came here not to ask for peace, Lyra said, because peace is not a gift, it's a choice. I came here not to beg for freedom, because freedom is not yours to give. I was born with it. I came to remind you that what you fear, what you tried to erase, survives. She looked around the room, straight at every general, every face that once signed her death. You turned kindness into threat, memory into weapon, people into projects. She raised her hand. The air shimmered. A projection appeared. Dozens of others, survivors, other Lyras, other experiments, still hiding, still waiting. You thought I was the last. I'm not. I'm just the first who's not afraid anymore. Someone stood. A council member. Old, nervous. What do you want? He asked. Lyra's voice was calm. I want a future where no child wakes up in a cage. A future where aliens are not property, or tools, or targets. She paused. And I want Ray cleared of all charges. He saved me when no one else would. When your system chose silence, he chose humanity. The chamber went silent. Then someone whispered, she's not a weapon. Another said, she's alive. In the back, a camera broadcast her image across the stars. Millions saw her standing there alone. Glowing, proud. Children, refugees, soldiers, scientists, survivors, and something strange happened. People began to stand. Across Earth, on the colonies, even in hidden bunkers. They stood not in fear, but in recognition that she had no flag, no army, no title, but she had something stronger, a voice that broke chains. After the hearing, Ray walked beside her. They didn't speak for a while. Then he asked, do you think they'll actually change? Lyra looked up at the sky. They already are. She looked at him. You did. That was enough to begin everything. Ray smiled. And now, Lyra smiled back. Now we build something better. They walked into the light. Together. Elsewhere, a distant station, an old man watched the broadcast. He turned to his team. Edenfall has failed, he said, but something greater has begun. He raised his glass to Lyra, the first of many. Final line narrated. Sometimes, it doesn't take an army to change the world. Just one person who refuses to be broken and the human who stands beside her.